What I'm about to say to you may not make any sense, and it may seem weird, and you may not even totally understand it consciously, but I guarantee that this will make you rich. It actually made the actor Matthew McConaughey $160 million, and it's called the Law of Detachment. Basically, not caring about money, not caring about your goals, not caring about what other people think, not caring about if you succeed or fail, not giving a crap. And that energy actually makes you insanely rich. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do it in 3 easy steps that will change your financial life forever. Step number 1 is that the world reveals itself to the one who needs nothing. And that's a quote from the Tao Te Ching, from the ancient Chinese book from thousands of years ago. But it's one of the summaries of, I think, the coolest story in Matthew McConaughey's book. He wrote a book called Green Lights, and I just finished reading it. Really interesting book, actually. And I was laughing so hard because when he finally decided that he wanted to become a, big, famous, rich, successful actor, he moved to Los Angeles, and he had met a man that was a big, successful guy in the industry that told him he should move out and he could, come stay with him until he started getting his business and started making some money. So McConaughey moves out to Los Angeles and moves into this dude's house. And the first night at dinner, Matthew's like, hey, can you get me an agent and a manager? I really need money. I'm running out of money, and I really need, can you make some phone calls? Can you, get the foot in the door for me? And this guy was super direct. And he just says to Matthew, cusses at him, which I'll leave the cuss words out, but basically, shut up, never say that again, get out of my house, and do not come back until you don't need money, until you don't need any success, because this industry won't give you anything, and you'll never be successful as long as you need something from them. And as soon as you realize that you don't need anything from them, they're all going to want you, and you're going to be huge. And so, the next day, McConaughey leaves and he goes on a couple-month trip through Europe on a motorcycle trip, and he doesn't come back until he feels this deep sense of connection to himself and this sense of aliveness. And then he comes back, knocks on the guy's door again, and he's like, hey, I'm ready now. And when they sat down for dinner that night, the guy's like, oh, I can feel your vibe difference. Clearly you don't need anything now. Perfect. I got meetings set up for us tomorrow. And that week, McConaughey gets a management deal with one of the biggest talent and acting agencies. And basically his career starts to kick off at that point. And it's an awesome story because it wasn't until he quit needing to get the jobs and quit needing to make the money from the jobs, quit needing the end result out of being a rich and successful actor. Once he stopped needing it and even stopped thinking about it, and he just showed up as hey, I'm Matthew McConaughey. When he was in that vibe, all the money started coming, all the jobs started coming. As soon as you stop needing, that's when the money arrives. But when you need it, it never comes. And that's because needy is creepy. It's creepy on a subconscious level, and also money has ears, and it hears when you call. You can comment that down below. Money has ears, it hears when you call. You can comment that down below. Money has ears, and it hears when you call. What does that mean? It means that on a subconscious level, you are always talking to money. You're always calling money into your life, or you're asking it to leave. Subconsciously through your emotions of either being in a place of abundance and being in a place of not needing, or being in a place of needing. It's the same idea as when you go on a date and that one person you go on a date with, if you showed up on the date and they were like, I need to never be alone again from this moment. You need to come home with me. I have a handcuff. Let's handcuff our arms together. I never want to be apart from you. Like, and you just met him 5 minutes ago, right? That would be beyond creepy, right? Like, it'd be repulsive. You would leave. So needy is creepy in that you get what you want to the degree that you don't need it, because to the degree that you need it, you're trying to fill something within yourself, which means you aren't really in vibrational harmony with wealth and with money and with success and with your dreams and with your future. You aren't in harmonious vibration with it, and so you need it because you're trying to fill that place within yourself. Once you realize you don't need it, then it starts to come quicker and faster and easier. You don't need the money needs you. And when you realize that the money needs you and you don't need the money, and that everything you can buy with money is great, it's cool, it's fun. Like, yeah, I have a nice sports car convertible, it's fun. I have a nice house, yeah, it's cool, it's nice, I like it. But I'm just as happy literally camping. The happiest time of my life was literally when my wife and I, right before we decided that she was going to get pregnant, we didn't have a house. And we were living out of a Prius in the Northwest. We camped the entire summer, literally for months. We just picked different places. We found a place we liked. We'd stay for a couple weeks out in national forest. Those are happy. We didn't have anything. All we did was sit by rivers and be in the sun. And I was the happiest. But guess what? The craziest part about that is that was when my business took the biggest growth. That's when I had the most viral YouTube videos, actually. It's when I made the most money, actually. And the crazy thing about it is I wasn't working. Because I was just in a place where I was like so connected to nature, and I was just like, I didn't give a crap about like anything in the world. And that energy was propelling old videos to randomly go viral and good things to happen. And that's what will happen to you when you stop needing it. You just reinforce that you're already good enough. You're already worthy. There's nothing that you need. There's nothing that you need. And when you're in that energy, that's when all the things come to you. And if you want help with that, a lot of it is subconscious. So you can get my free financial success hypnosis. It's jakeshypnosis.com. It's pinned to the comments in the description right there down below. I always say brainwash yourself before the world brainwashes you. So let's move on to number 2 of the Law of Detachment. We'll talk a little bit more about Matthew McConaughey and some of his other stories in his book. Now, step number 2, if you want to use the Law of Detachment to get rich, is you have to find out who you are and then not be afraid to be that, even if it's totally different. And in McConaughey's book, once he started to become, pretty successful and he's starting to build his buzz in Hollywood as an actor, he gets in this place where like he's kind of in like a screw it phase, like, screw it all, none of it matters, because he had already found himself when he was motorcycle riding and all that stuff. So like now he's like rich and getting famous and stuff like that, and he's just kind of almost repulsed by it a little bit. And so he gets a huge movie gig, and when he gets the movie gig, he's in this place of screw it. So he just decides he's gonna shave his head like totally off, like all of his hair completely bald, clean it out with a razor. He's got a nice shiny head. And it was right when he signed the deal for this huge movie gig. And the next day he's walking around, and because he's famous at this point, there's tabloid photos like McConaughey is bald now. So he gets a call from the director of that movie that just signed the deal to pay him a whole bunch of money. And the guy cusses him out and was like, basically like, you did not, go bald. Like, you're not supposed to look like that. And, this is going to ruin the movie, and you better not have done that. And, and so instead of apologizing or anything like that, McConaughey just decides he's just going to like go for it. He's just going to shave his head, walk all around so everybody knows he's got this shaved head. And there's this big, Hollywood event coming up, and McConaughey decides to go to it just so everyone sees him, that he shaved his head, and he's just like rubbing it in the face of Hollywood like, I'm going to be me no matter what. Well, when he goes to this event, he gets a call from that director the next day, and the guy's in a totally different tune and is basically like, you know what? I think it's awesome. I think this bald head of yours is just amazing, and it's just looks so great, and it's going to be the new big hot thing. Well, what happened was the guy saw him at the event and saw how everyone was taking notice to McConaughey and realized that he was wrong and McConaughey was right. And it's a funny little story that basically what he says out of that is that until you can tell the world or your industry, in his respect, he says, until you can tell Hollywood basically to screw off, you won't be successful. His exact quote was, Hollywood loves you only when you stop caring about it accepting you. And I think it's the same way with almost anything. And it's the core of the law of detachment. When you care so badly about what other people think, if I care so much about what everybody thinks in the comments, I could get so obsessed with criticizing myself that I never make another YouTube video, right? You could get so obsessed with what everybody says about your business or the book you're trying to write or the music you're trying to make or your body or your house or your car or your teeth or your hair or your clothes. You can get so obsessed with it that you're in such a place of insecurity that you can't attract more money, that you can't close those sales, that you can't create a great product that a lot of people want to buy, that you aren't in vibrational harmony with the frequency of wealth and abundance, so you can't attract more money into your life. When you stop caring about what everybody thinks, like McConaughey says, I mean, the guy's worth like, I don't know what he's worth, like $150 million. Clearly, when you stop caring so much, it brings a lot of money. Now, the third step is to know what you want, like set your standards, but let go of the outcome. Now, McConaughey was just doing the romantic comedy movies, and he was super big. He was making a bunch of money doing these romantic comedy movies, but it didn't fulfill him. He didn't want to do it anymore. He wanted to do serious roles. But he was pigeonholed in Hollywood as a romantic comedy guy, so he couldn't get other business. And he decided that he would refuse to take any of the romantic comedy movies that he was being offered, and that he would wait until he got serious roles. And he was basically told it was going to be the death of his career. And if he went a certain duration of time of declining all these job opportunities for these rom-com movies, eventually Hollywood would stop calling him. So he went from making millions of dollars a year to making $0. And it was over a 2-year period where Hollywood kept coming back and offering these romantic comedy movies. And at one point he was offered like $12 or $15 million for a single rom-com movie. And his mind is like, I want to take this. Like, I need to take this. This is so much money for one movie. Like, what am I doing? This is the most money I've ever made in my life. Like, well, I need to do this. But he said no. And then he went an entire year without a single job offer because Hollywood quit calling him. And he thought his career was over. He was starting to consider, like, what should I do with my life now? Like, I just ruined my career in Hollywood and I don't want to do romantic comedies, and I took a risk, but this didn't work out, and bummer, tough luck. What should I do? And then he randomly, after over 2 years, gets a call. He ends up getting the Dallas Buyers Club movie that he ended up winning a Oscar for, and that leads to all kinds of other movies after that. He gets the Wolf of Wall Street movie, the Dallas Buyers Club, all of these movies. Then he gets all these serious roles, and he ends up making, like, think about all those movies. He probably made more money after that than before when he was doing the rom-com movies. But there was a 2-year period where he made $0, where he declined making tens of millions of dollars because he knew what he wanted. Now, that's the key, is to let go of the outcome. It's to know what you want and stand firmly. And that's why this video set up the way that it is and how I built it the way it is, because you can't even get to step number 3 until you get to step number 2, which is to find out who you are and not be afraid to be it, not be afraid of other people accepting you. And that's why we go to number 1, was that you don't need it. You don't need them. You don't need the money. You don't need the success. You don't need the validation. It's already all within yourself. And when you're in that energy, you will attract it. Those 2 are so important to get to step number 3, which is to know what you want, but let go of the outcome, right? And when you let go of that outcome, there's a freeness to you where money becomes more of a game, right? Like when you're like strapped for cash, it doesn't feel like a game, right? It's almost offensive when a rich person says like, it's just a game, right? We hear like a billionaire talk about like, yeah, making money is just a game, just like basketball or baseball. And we're like, yeah, screw you, easy for you to say, right? It's like offensive, right? Because we're in survival mode. It doesn't feel like a game when you're having a heart palpitations and your hair is turning gray and you just got a divorce because you're so stressed and you're unable to have any freedom and you're having health issues because you're so stressed. It doesn't feel like a game, right? And that's when we're so obsessed with the outcome. And it is ironic that to the degree that we're obsessed with the outcome is to the degree that we limit our financial success. But when we let go, we leave space for really awesome things. We leave space for miracles. And when we let go, we find out what are the things within ourselves that we need to work on. And so when you let go, there's a certain fear that will come up. And it may be a fear of you not controlling the outcome, maybe a fear that you won't be good enough. Whatever it is, that's where you know your work is. And when you let go like that, and you don't need that outcome, and you stand firm like McConaughey did, eventually you're staying in such a heightened vibrational state. You've raised your energy to such a degree that eventually the outside world's going to catch up. The money's going to come. The big break's going to come. You're going to get, like, for me, it was like randomly all of a sudden I start getting these viral videos, and all of a sudden I go from here to there. It happens one day. But for that to happen, you have to let go of needing it, and you have to let go of the outcome and make space for the universe to work its magic. And when you make space for the universe to work its magic, that's when the money comes, the success comes, all the awesome things come. And when they come, you realize you can enjoy them, but they're secondary because you remember the truth. And the truth is, you're a spiritual being in a physical body, and you're good enough and you're smart enough, and you don't need any of these things to feel free. So if you enjoyed this video, be sure to get my free financial success hypnosis. It's jakeshypnosis.com. It's my free financial success hypnosis to reprogram your subconscious mind. About 1 million people from all over the world have used it. All you got to do is listen to it for a few minutes every day and start to reprogram your subconscious. Start to build new financial model, because psychologists tell us 95% of our life is subconscious. It's just a bunch of programs, behaviors, patterns that are controlling our life that are unconscious. And that's controlling your financial life. So like, why do I do the things that I do around money? Why do I make the amount of money that I make? Why do I have this belief about myself and my success and about money? Why do I do this every time I get money? Why do I mess up this way every time when I want more money? It's all subconscious, but you can reprogram all of it and turn your subconscious into a magnet for money. And I have a free success hypnosis. 1 million people all over the world have used it. So be sure you get that. It's jakeshypnosis.com, pinned to the comments and in the description right there down below. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure you hit the like, subscribe, bell notification. Let me know in the comments right there down below if you enjoyed this video. Remember, you don't need it. You're already good enough. And when you let go, that energy is very powerful and it will make you very rich.